All right, my beautiful people. Hold on. Get my life together, okay? Because we was in here jamming to that Alice Coltrane. Such a key. But welcome back to the garden. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Tamil. I'm so glad you found me. Today we are talking about letting go. Yeah, letting go without clarity, letting go without even needing to know what's next, y'all. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes life just throws you a whirl ball, right? And you end up somewhere completely different than where you started. Maybe that same day, maybe the day before, maybe that very same hour. Today we'll be talking about letting go and some of the ways that I let go, some of the ways that I get clarity and witness what it is that I need to let go, and talking about letting exactly what I'm letting go of, talking about exactly what I'm getting ready to release. And ding, 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 we're going to do a burning bowl ritual. I'm going to show you in my fire sign way how I light that on fire. Okay. Okay, my beloveds, we are sipping milk of the motherland from my auntie's tea time. This is a carob coconut chamomile based blend. It's so good for relaxing your body, relaxing your nervous system, but also just giving you a gentle kind of ease into getting that spark back. This is one of the blends that I'm really leaning into right now, coming out of burnout season and finding my rest, finding my sensuality, finding all of the things that I talked about in that last video. Did you watch the last video? Okay. Yeah, talking about some of the things that I'm leaning into and coming back into my body. And this blend, oh man, this blend is really good for leaning into that. So today we're sipping and we're talking and we're writing. And I first want to share a little bit of what it's been like for me coming back into looking at these past versions of myself and looking back over this year and just looking, right? Witnessing, which is so important in identifying what you need to let go of. Because if you're not taking an opportunity to self reflect and look at the journey, then you won't even know how much you're carrying. You won't even be able to realize exactly what you picked up that maybe it's about time to put down. Okay, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Mm. I'm going to share a little bit about what I wrote and witnessing past versions of myself, but also just looking at this current version of myself and kind of getting the idea of where we're at, right? Because you got to look at where you're at to figure out what you've been through and where you're trying to go. There's a version of me that, could be who I am today or a past version of me still trying to figure it out. But this version of me kept me alive. This version of me held me together. They carried so much more than their share. And I want to honor them. I want to tell them that I love them. And also that it's time for me to gently let them go. I'm becoming a version of myself that is called to do more than just survive. And I want to live my life more fully. I want to have the capacity to hold more, to tend to what I have, what I'm manifesting with more ease. I want to become the version of myself that is meant for expansion. Okay? I want to become the version of myself that is meant for expansion, that is okay with the growth, that is leaning into the change, that is leaning into looking at what is and what is not working and choosing growth, choosing to do better and to do more where it's necessary. And most of all, I don't want to keep dwelling on what's lost and what's left in the dirt. I want to look forward and know that the horizon doesn't have to be so far away. And I know that this next version of myself, she's going to be ready. Yeah, she's going to be ready to behold it all. I'm just sitting with that, y'all, because it do got me a little emotional. just looking back at 2025 alone, like I am not even the same person I was when I started this year. So the version of me that I am right now in this moment is just it's marvelous, truly, to witness. I was doing a reading so I did a reading for the full moon, right? And we'll get into that. But I did a reading a few weeks ago because I've been really looking so intentionally at why my capacity is just like here with it. Because the things that I want to do are like here, but my capacity, and I'm talking my energy levels, my ability to show up and get things done, my focus, my concentration, like what's going on. And so I pulled some cards, and it was so interesting because what the cards really spoke to was the fact that it's not necessarily my capacity, but my ability to learn how to do things with more ease and to to be able to show up in more grounded action than impulsiveness and spontaneity, which is needed at times, but not every season. Not every season, right? And that's the thing about being in the garden. The garden analogy has helped me be able to look at my life in cycles and to understand that there is a season for every single thing that is going on in my process, in my healing journey, right? And the season that I'm in right now definitely feels like that decay season, that season where, honestly, it feels like I'm the soil now because I'm having to compost so much and having to compost this last version of myself and the version before her and the version before her and understanding that, they did what they were supposed to do. They played their part, right? And now we're at a point where I have to take what they've given me and take the lessons and become more than just my pain, become more than just a story of my wounds, which is also something that I'm very specifically releasing is this identity that I am my pain, that I am what I've been through, that I am the people that have left me, like my parents who, didn't do what they were supposed to do. Like I'm more than all of that. And understanding that, I'm like, oh, okay, like there is more to life for me and for the way that I want to show up and the story that I want to tell about all that it took for me to get here than just the pain. Like there was so much more than just pain that got me here. So looking at it all and beholding it all and allowing, like I said, myself to become the soil for these new seeds that I'm planting because I know what's next. As they say, God didn't put this vision in my heart for no reason. So I know what's next. And because I know what's next, that is what allows me to pursue the process of releasing what's not anymore and embracing what's to come, even if I don't specifically know how I'm going to get there or know what steps I need to take. I know what's next. I know who's next. Okay. And I'm next. I'm next for sure. So, and there's also this thing of releasing these ideas that I need to be this big success story or this big example or that I need to prove that I am who I am or that I am who I say I am. Like every version of myself, and there was one version of myself in particular, I remember she was so confidently and unapologetically herself because she knew that there was nothing to prove. And so, like I said, the wisdom, I want to embody and identify the wisdom of the past versions of myself and not just the wounds, not just the wounds. They had so much to teach me and show me, and we experienced so much together. And I want to honor that. I want to hold space for that in my becoming and in that to show up in this next version of myself that I am becoming. And it's amazing because sometimes the change just happens so quickly that you don't even realize that you're four versions away from the version of yourself that was last really, here looking and witnessing everything consciously. And here I am. Here I am. Here we are. So, for the full moon in Gemini, which was all about releasing old versions of yourself, old identities, old patterns, old survival patterns, which is I'm like, ooh, baby, this is on time, okay? Because I'm tired of surviving. I'm tired of being a survivor, tired of being strong, tired of being resilient. Don't want to be anybody's strong, independent black woman anymore. Okay? And that's just because I know that there's so much more to who I can embody and what my strength can look like. And my strength can look like learning when to choose to say no, learning when to say, I'm at my limit and that's not going to work for me. Or learning when to set a boundary and to stand firm on that. Like my strength can look like so many other things. Okay? I pulled a few cards to, like I said, look at what I was holding and to really be able to witness the grip where the grip was. Okay. Because you can say all day, oh, I'm letting go, I'm letting go, I'm letting go. But you have to make that decision inside yourself, and yourself needs to be able to understand, why am I holding on to begin with? And so, ooh, getting emotional again. The cards really spoke, y'all, because they really showed me why I was holding on to certain things and how intimately connected that was to versions of myself that had been through some things. Like it took a lot to get here. And this this ritual just allowed me some really intentional time and space to be able to say, you know what? I see what you went through. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And I'm here to hold you and to see you and to feel with you. And at the same time, we are moving forward and we are going to move on because there's healing for us. There's more for us on the other side of what we went through. So, this is what I'm releasing. Okay. I'm releasing the version of myself that survived more than I lived, the version of myself that felt like I had more to prove than to experience, the version of myself that felt like I needed to save and fix more than just be. I'm releasing the need for perfect balance in everything. Okay. And I really want to hone in on this in terms of diluting me to preserve the peace in my work environment, in my business relationships, in my relationships, period. I need to be able to show up fully and authentically myself. And I cannot diffuse, dilute, or dim my light to be able to hold space for people who are not showing up authentically in themselves. And I'm no longer taking responsibility for maintaining the balance or wanting to achieve balance when I'm showing up in exactly what I need to be showing up in, period. I'm releasing the fear of change. 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 And like I said, the next version of myself is going to be able to receive and move through change so easily and fluidly because change is natural. And in looking at this version of myself, I have to honestly just be honest about the fact that I'm grateful for change. I'm grateful that I don't want the things I used to want, that I'm not where I used to be, that I'm not who I used to be, right? I'm grateful that I grew. I'm grateful that I did the work. I'm grateful for change. And like I said before, I am releasing pain as identity. I'm releasing identifying with my wounds, with my abandonment, with the ways that people have silenced me or made me small. That is not who I am. And I'm no longer going to let that define who I am or how I show up in this world. Now, from pulling these cards, I got a lot of clarity on what he is, right? But I don't necessarily know what's next. And I don't feel the need to chase or inquire or get insight on what my next steps need to be or what I need to be planning. I'm just leaning into what he is and allowing that to be enough. and allowing myself to witness the decision making, the accepting, the choice being made of me seeing why I was holding on to these things so tightly and also being able to let go, being able to witness myself making a decision and the choice to let go. Now let's light some on fire. I think it's so funny that one of the first cards that I pulled when I was doing my reading was the ancestors, which in the Hoodoo tarot deck is the death card. And I was like, wow, okay. So not only am I aligned in seeking this message, but they're also about to hand it to me. And they did. They did. They sure did. Um, like I said, I love to pull tarot cards to really get clarity on where I'm at because my ancestors, my guides, they can see things that I cannot see. And I like to honor that in my work. But this is the paper that I wrote for what I'm releasing, right? And we lighting this on fire. We are lighting it on fire. Releasing who I had to be, embracing who I really am. Releasing who I am publicly, embracing who I am spiritually. Releasing what I think I know, embracing what I feel called to become. Releasing the version of myself that was built for survival and not expansion. Ashe. Ashe. In my burning bowl, I have sage and frankincense. Frankincense for my ancestors who are going to receive this and do what needs to be done, and sage for that appropriate cleansing.